And we're live. Chairwoman, I think that you are muted.
Oh, what a difference that makes. Do we have any calls from the public?
We do not for a general call to the public.
Okay. Then we will go to the minutes of the meeting.
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We have consent items 2 through 9. Does anyone have any further questions, comments? I want to staff present on any of these items, or do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve consent items 2 through 9.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, they pass unanimously. Items 10 through 16 are for information only. I think you've probably all been briefed on them. Do you need any further information at this time? Hearing none. We will go to item 17, which is the electric scooter pilot program.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Item 17 is the Downtown Shared Electric Scooter Pilot Program requested extension. And with me here today to present on this item is Keeney Knutson, Street Transportation Director, and Brianna Valles, our Assistant Director. So with that, I'll turn it over to Keeney to introduce the item.
Thank you,
Poor
Mari.
Keeney's getting work out this week.
Yes, it has been a busy week, Madam Chair. But that's what we're here for to do, so to respond to those kind of things. So, but glad to be here this morning for the subcommittee to talk about an update on the e-scooter pilot program. It's an update, but also to provide a recommendation going forward that will ultimately go to council related to the future and the potential extension of the scooter program. But before we get into that, I wanted to actually make sure it's working here. Okay, so I want to quickly provide a pilot program overview. As a reminder, the initial pilot of the program began in September of 2019, and a 6-month pilot went through middle of March 2020. So right before the start of our pandemic that we're all currently in. But when we put the program together, we had a lot of council input and a lot of stakeholder input. And part of that was we had program boundary limits and no ride zones within the shaded area you see on the right. The right obviously shows the mapping of where our pilot program exists, primarily from 7th Avenue to 7th Street on the eastern and western boundaries, and also Buckeye Road on the south up to the northern boundaries, which are bounded by Roosevelt, Portland, and McDowell Road. We also incorporated within our pilot program designated parking locations, which was kind of unique to the Phoenix program we had here. It was really to make sure that those scooters do not cause blight and issues with people getting in and around downtown. So we had designated parking locations for people to begin and end their rides. We also incorporated sidewalk riding being prohibited. We allowed for the police to be able to cite sidewalk riders, but it is something we wanted to, and we've been working very much with our vendors to work through the sidewalk riding to make sure that they're educating their customers about that requirement here in Phoenix. Then finally, we had a 6-month extension that was approved by council and the subcommittee earlier, about this time last year, but the 6-month extension did not begin immediately because of the pandemic. We had a pause in the scooter operations, and so that current 6-month extension is going from October through the end, October of last year through March of this year. So I have with me today Brianna Valles, our Assistant Street Transportation Director, who's been very much involved in this program since its inception, and she's going to take you through the balance of the presentation. Brianna?
Thank you, Keeney. Madam Chair and members of this subcommittee, as Keeney mentioned, City Council did approve a 6-month extension of the pilot program. Because we only had one vendor at the time, which was Spin, we reopened the application process for other vendors to apply. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the start of Phase 2 was paused and did not start immediately after the initial phases planned. Razor was the only new vendor who applied, and so new 6-month permits were issued to Razor and Spin, and the pilot program resumed on October 1st, 2020. During the initial phase, we had 3 vendors, and each vendor was authorized to deploy 300 scooters per day. At the end of the initial phase, we had only one vendor in the pilot, which was Spin, and so they were authorized to deploy 900 scooters per day. For Phase 2, Razor has been authorized to deploy 300 scooters per day, and Spin has remained at 900 scooters per day. But due to the pandemic, demand has not returned to previous levels in the initial phase, and so on average, Razor is deploying about 150 scooters per day, and Spin about 170 per day. As part of the program requirements, vendors were required to provide monthly data on the number of scooters deployed, number of weekly trips, number of daily trips, and average ride time per trip. Based on the 4-month data of Phase 2, the program has had over 22,000 total trips, with an average of approximately 1,200 trips per week, 170 trips per day, and the average scooter trip duration is about 15 minutes per trip. Under the permits, vendors were charged a fee for violating requirements associated with the nightly pickup and scooter relocations. Vendors were required to pick up scooters nightly by midnight, and any scooters not picked up were impounded and assessed a fee. However, in January 2020, the city rescinded the nightly removal requirement and allowed the scooters to remain parked in the designated parking locations as long as they were deactivated from midnight to 5 a.m. Vendors were also required to relocate improperly parked or discarded scooters within 2 hours of being notified. If the scooter was not relocated within 2 hours, the scooter was relocated and the vendor was assessed a fee. The city contracted with a scooter retrieval company, Sweep, to monitor, report, and correct any vendor violations and was available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Sweep has reported a total of 122 violations during the Phase 2 pilot, with 54 for Razor and 68 for Spin. The proposed fees were intended to be cost neutral to the city. The current fees include a $500 application fee, a $5,000 6-month permit fee, and a 10-cent trip surcharge fee, and an $80 relocation fee. For both phases of the pilot program, we have collected $27,500 in application and permit fees, a little over $13,000 in trip surcharge fees, and almost $38,000 in violation fees. As part of the program requirements, the vendors were required to reimburse the city for installing the 400 designated parking locations. The amount was approximately $61,000 for material and labor, and 3 vendors each paid 1/3 of the cost. The city staff time associated with administering the program for both phases has been about $48,000, and the contract with Sweep is approximately $79,000. The total revenue for both phases of the pilot program is $78,288, and the total cost is approximately $142,000. Staff also established a dedicated email account, phone number, and web page to collect comments and address any concerns. To date, we have only received about 30 emails or phone calls during the 2 phases of the pilot program, with the top 3 issues being improper scooter parking, abandoned scooters, and riding on the sidewalk. Some of the observations noted from both phases of the pilot were that the usage of scooters was evidence of a shared micromobility demand, and that riders quickly adapted to the unique designated parking requirements. Some of the challenges were the accuracy of commercial-grade GPS and issues with no ride zones, ending rides in designated parking locations, and program boundaries. As noted in the previous slide, the pilot program does not recover the cost of administering the program. The other challenge was unexpected pauses by the vendors and also the impacts of the pandemic. There have been no reported scooter-related incidents during Phase 2. I did want to take the opportunity to acknowledge Downtown Phoenix, Inc., who has been a great partner through both phases of the pilot program. They utilized their Phoenix downtown ambassadors that wear the orange shirts to assist with education, providing information, as well as scooter relocations. And over the 2 phases, they have assisted on over 500 occasions with scooter-related items. So what have we seen through both phases of the pilot program? Obviously, we feel staff has been effective in administering the pilot program. Overall, the feedback has been very favorable from the public, and the request we get most often is to expand the program boundaries. The vendors are reporting encouraging ridership numbers, and as we continue, during the pandemic, they're starting to see slight increases. But there is potential for program refinements and further evaluations, such as challenges with sidewalk riding and how to enforce it, and possible contract modifications associated with the scooter retrieval services. As previously mentioned, the fees collected do not cover the cost of administering the program, so staff has proposed some potential fee increases that include no change to the application fee, a $7,500 six-month permit fee, a 25-cent trip surcharge fee, and a $100 relocation fee. As required by state law, these potential fee increases were properly posted on February 1st and can be considered by City Council no earlier than the April 7th formal meeting. So where do we go from here? Our next steps include to continue to administer the program, including further evaluation and gathering additional community input. We intend to publish a survey and summary report at the conclusion of the second phase of the pilot program. And with the Phase 2 pilot program expiring on March 31st, staff is recommending a 12-month extension of the pilot program with the 2 current vendors and no modification to the current program boundaries. We also recommend an extension of the sunset provision for 6 months. This request is planned to come to City Council on the March 17th formal meeting. The proposed fee increases can be considered no earlier than the April 7th formal meeting. The 12-month extension will allow staff to evaluate opportunities for a comprehensive micromobility program, which could include scooters, electric bikes, and pedal bikes. We anticipate providing potential options to City Council later this year.
Thank you, Brianna. And Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, that brings us to our recommendation slide. What we're requesting today is for the subcommittee to recommend City Council approval of 2 things. One is to be able to extend the pilot program for an additional 12 months that would take us through March of 2022. That is an action just to allow us to issue the permits to the vendors to operate the scooter program in downtown through that time. The second piece is to recommend amendments to the Phoenix City Code to extend the sunset provision by an additional 6 months. Right now, it's currently at December 31st of 2021. That would extend, the additional 6 months would go through June 30th of 2022. And that would allow scooters to be legal to be operated within the city of Phoenix under the permits. With that, we'll be happy to answer.
Does anyone, pardon me,
Vice Mayor? Or Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Stark?
Thank you. Excuse me. Keeney, I was approached by Bird to ask to become a part of the program again. I think they really were originally a part of the program, but they backed out. I think their concern was GPS. Is there any thought to adding other users at this time?
Madam Chair, Councilwoman Stark, members of the subcommittee, the reason why right now our kind of process that we're looking forward for the extension is to be able to keep with the existing 2 vendors that we have already permitted and in operation. Primarily the reason behind there is the demand. As we've noted that the scooter companies, the 2 scooter vendors are allowed to have 1,200 scooters in operation in the downtown area. They currently are only deploying a third of that number. And so what we would like the ability to do, and we would like to reserve the ability to do, is to be able to open up the process at some point in the future when the market is in higher demand for scooters. And we'll see as the pandemic, we continue, hopefully going through the pandemic, we lessen, the impacts there, and we can see more ridership demands there. So I don't really think, I would say from a staff perspective, it doesn't look appropriate that we could handle additional vendors. We're also concerned about, scooter clutter as well, especially if they're not being as used as much. So I think we would like the ability to open that up at some point in time in the 12-month process to be able to allow additional vendors once the market demand dictates.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
it's Councilwoman Pastor.
Yes.
I have a motion, but I also have comments, so I will move to approve this item.
Okay.
And I believe that we still, even though it's been a pilot, every 6 months we seem to be coming back, and then the pandemic hit. But I think we really need to make sure that in the pilot program, safety and education is key to this program. I happened to experience last week, and I called Keeney on, and I don't know, Keeney says I must be attracted to these incidents because I call him every time. Once again, I was on Central and Roosevelt. It was a green light, and I had the ability to go. Luckily, I was paying attention and watching traffic before I started to step out. All of a sudden, to my far left, and it was actually a blind spot because of where the cars were situated, but I was watching something. All of a sudden, a young lady on a bike, I don't know if it's a pedal bike or what they're called, but they're at the Cambry, because this weekend I was at the Cambry and saw the bikes there. And she was going against the light, and I would have hit her if I hadn't seen that and didn't stay stopped. So I think education is a key to this process. And so I just want to be able to put that out there. The other piece is there are vendors that want to get in the pool. However, I'm open to new vendors coming in the pool as long as they follow our city rules. And geofencing is really one of the key items. And to be able to use their latest application or software and make sure that geofencing is at the level that it should be. And that's what we were told by several vendors when this pilot had started. So I just want to make sure that we are following what we put into play. I made that motion too.
Do we have a second?
Second. And did that motion include adding other vendors as long as they follow the rules? I'm sorry.
No, that didn't, because
Okay, thank you.
the company that you're speaking of did not follow the rules.
Okay.
And that's why they were knocked out.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further questions, comments?
Chairwoman, if I could, I think we have a couple of speakers signed up for this item.
Okay.
Chairwoman, I just need just clarification on the motion, Councilwoman Pastor. What is the motion to recommend staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, go with the calls, please.
Yes, Chairwoman, our first speaker is John Hamby. John, are you on the line?
John, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Well, hello, Chairwoman and members of the subcommittee. My name is John Hamby, and I'm the Executive Director of Phoenix Community Alliance, downtown's 38-year-old leadership and advocacy organization and membership affiliate to Downtown Phoenix, Inc. Thank you, Brianna, for recognizing Downtown Phoenix, Inc.'s ambassadors in the orange shirts and their work they do in the downtown area. They're very passionate, and they will be happy to hear that little shout out. On behalf of PCA and our multimodal committee, we'd like to share in our support for the extension of the e-scooter pilot program in Phoenix. PCA's multimodal committee has stated in our 2021 work plan that we would advocate for permanent bike share and e-scooter programs. And that's what we intend to do in 2021 and onward. So lucky or maybe unlucky for you, you'll be hearing my voice a lot in the coming year. It's our understanding that the e-scooter pilot program will remain relatively the same in terms of the program itself and will not be adding any additional vendors, service area, or operational efficiencies to the program. While that might not be the most ideal situation, we also understand that demand has slowed due to the events of 2020, and adding more vendors at this time would be a little bit irresponsible of the city, as it surely wants to be a great partner to our micro mobility partners. This year extension provides some advantages to the city to be able to do a thorough analysis of the data, vendors, and figure out the best path forward, e-scooter path forward. So we go into supporting this extension with the strong recommendation that within this year period, the city will provide the opportunity to add vendors, as many of you just spoke about, expand the service area, consider adding a more cost-efficient scooter pickup partner, consider efficiencies when it comes to a docking of the e-scooters and making them more accessible to all riders, and look to the future to build a permanent program, which includes e-bike share, pedal bike share, and any other type of multimodal share that the people would like. So thank you for your time today, and please again note that Phoenix Community Alliance supports this extension.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Elizabeth May. Elizabeth, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, and city staff. Thank you for the opportunity to provide public comment today. My name is Elizabeth May. I'm on Bird's government partnership team. Bird is very eager for the opportunity to join the downtown Phoenix e-scooter pilot at this time. Specifically, we would be grateful for the chance to work with staff to build upon this already successful program. There are a few specific ways Bird would add value to the next phase of the pilot program. The first is regional connectivity. We operate in 4 cities in the greater Phoenix metro and anticipate expanding to new service areas in the valley in the coming months. We have tens of thousands of active riders who already use Bird in Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa, and Gilbert. And providing our service in downtown Phoenix will allow greater connectivity for those riders to continue their journey on a Bird for their first and last mile connections and to avoid a car trip. The second is data sharing. We will share real-time monthly and program data with the City of Phoenix, which will provide tens of thousands of additional data points as the city plans for a permanent program. Not allowing Bird or other operators into the pilot program prevents the city from gathering as much data as possible to inform the future multimodal program in Phoenix. And finally, we recently brought our newest and most advanced vehicle, the Bird 2, to all of our markets in the greater Phoenix area, and we're eager to share the Bird 2 with riders in downtown Phoenix. This newest vehicle has the latest technology, highest safety standards, and was designed in-house for shared operations, which ensures safety and reliability for our riders. Bird has met with city staff, is working closely with Phoenix Community Alliance, and looks forward to continuing to collaborate and innovate with the Phoenix community. In closing, Bird kindly asks that upon extension, staff allow additional operators into the downtown e-scooter pilot program. We look forward to serving the Phoenix community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Brandon Chang. Brandon, are you on the line? It looks as though Brandon is not on the line. And so that was our last speaker on this item.
Okay. Does anyone want to make any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. That takes us to item 18, which is the request to issue in Terminal 4 South Concourse retail revenue.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Item 18, we actually would like to combine the presentations for items 18, 19, and 20, since they all relate to the solicitation for the South 1 Concourse. 18 is for retail, 19 is for food and beverage, and 20 is for the common use airport lounge. And so I'm going to turn it over to Charlene, our interim aviation director, to conduct the presentation on these items.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. The Aviation Department is before you today with a request seeking your approval to issue revenue contract solicitations for Terminal 4 S1. This basically, Terminal 4 S1 is the last concourse to be built in Terminal 4. It will open in the summer of 2022. This concourse will have 8 gates. Those 8 gates will be 100% leased by Southwest Airlines. The design for this concourse will be sleek and modern. It will have sustainability concepts within it. This will be a world-class facility, much like Terminal 3, yet elevated, and it will offer 3 concession programs. 1, a common use lounge. The second, food and beverage, and retail. The program goals for this revenue contract solicitation is always to raise the quality of our food, beverage, and retail program within the terminal, to increase participation for local and small businesses, also to have concepts that reflect our community, yet include regional and national concepts. We want to optimize our sales and revenue, and also reflect current trends within retail and food and beverage. To the subcommittee, this is a picture of the original concept design for Terminal 4. And this picture shows our current construction. This concourse is well underway, and so we look forward to it opening in summer of 2022. I want to spend a moment on this slide to explain the overall strategy for the food, beverage, and retail program within the concourse. I believe it would take the department anywhere from 6 to 9 months to go through the procurement process. However, right now with that schedule, it will not align with the opening of the concourse. So the strategy is to first place temporary kiosks, as denoted here by the shopping bags and the hamburger signs. Once you enter the concourse, and at the end of the concourse, we will have those temporary kiosks that will be in place for 6 to 9 months until the first phase of our concessions program is built out. Phase 1 of our concessions program will include the common use lounge that is seen on the map, C2 location. We will also have a food hall, which is F1. We will have a coffee and wine bar, which is location F3. That would be a small business opportunity. Only those companies that meet the requirements of EOD, our ACDBE partners, will be able to propose on that concept. For the retail, location R1 would be news and gift, and then R2 would be high tech and/or a different open concept. Phase 2 would be full service, fast casual, a bar, cafe, specialty retail, and another news and gift location. The reason why the department is recommending that we phase the opening of our concessions program is, again, due to the pandemic. We want to make sure that we have the employments to support the full concessions program before we activate phase 2. Under our current procurement model, we typically have 4 management strategies to choose from. The majority of our concessions program is operated by a prime operator that then enters into JV contracts. For this concessions program, we are recommending that we utilize 2 of the 4 management approaches. That would be a prime operator, and then 1 direct leasing opportunity, and that would be solely for our ACDBE small business partners. The evaluation criteria for the food, beverage, and retail offerings would be based upon their proposed concept, their design, use of innovation and technology, their marketing programs, their experience, their overall business plan, and of course, their financial return to the city. The lounge would have 5 evaluation factors that would be based upon their design, their qualifications, how they will operate their business, their overall business plan, and again, their financial return to the city of Phoenix. The schedule for this procurement process, we would hope to come back to City Council in December of 2021 with a recommendation for award for the Common Use Lounge and Phase 1 of the food, beverage, and retail. Then we would enter into a contract for Phase 2 of the food and beverage and retail programs sometime in 2022 and/or 2023. Again, this would be based upon the aviation department working with Southwest Airlines, understanding their employment numbers, and once the employment really facilitated the activation of the second phase of food, beverage, and retail, at that time, the aviation department would enter into a contract for Phase 2.
Charlene, is this all going to be done under one RFP?
Madam
Or are
Chair,
you going to plan a second one?
this would 3 separate solicitations, but relative to the phasing of the food and beverage and retail programs, it would be under one solicitation. So one solicitation, we would award, make a recommendation to award the contracts at the same time. However, we wouldn't enter into that second phase contract until we had the employments to support it.
Thank you.
Thank you. The contract term that staff is recommending is a 7-year term with 1 3-year option. On the financial side, respondents would have to propose a MAG and/or percentage rent, whichever is greater. And with that, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, the Aviation Department is requesting that the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Innovation Subcommittee recommend City Council approval to issue 3 separate revenue contract solicitations for the new T4S1 Concourse as follows. 1 solicitation for retail concessions, another solicitation for food and beverage concessions, and a 3rd RCS for the development and operation of a common use airport lounge. Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, that concludes my presentation for today, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Councilwoman Guardo, did you have some questions?
I do. Well, thank you so much for that, Charlene. I just have a couple of questions for you and for Mario. When we negotiated the contract extensions for the other terminals, council agreed upon strengthening our anti-discrimination language to be materials part of the contract. Will that same language be included in these contracts?
Vice Mayor to Councilwoman Guardo, that will definitely be included in the contracts for these concessions programs.
Great. And then, I know that we've, when we were going through this whole process and we were talking about extensions and we were talking about being able to give some relief to these companies, I think it was a huge learning experience for me, learning how these contracts work. And as always, I think it is important for us to be able to incorporate the Airport Disadvantaged Businesses Enterprise Program. I think this is a great program. I think this should be done in a way that is fair for our small businesses. They're prime partners in our city. I believe this is best done through the joint venture model that pushes for 100% countable participation in the program. I would like to recommend that the style of A, B, C, D, B, E be incorporated into these RCS today. How could we make that happen, Charlene or Mario?
Madam Chair to Councilwoman Guarado. Currently, right now, the majority of our contracts is through joint venture partnerships. They do have a prime, and then they partner with our ACDBE partners in order to fulfill our federal mandate from FAA relative to the ACDBE program. In order to have 100% ACDBE partnership, that would basically entail a ACDBE priming a location. Under the current, there is not 100% ACDBE joint venture model out there. It's typically a prime with the ACDBE partnership, and/or that ACDBE would then themselves. That's why we created the direct leasing opportunity, so the ACDBEs could prime that location themselves without any other partnership.
Okay, well, look, I mean, it's something that we should just continue to talk about. I definitely like this program, the ABCDE program. People contracting on their own. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that, but I mean, this is just first discussion. We can continue to talk more about this before it goes to the full council. Like, I just wanted to put that on the record. That we could actually start that conversation. But so just with that, just to finish my statement, just also wanted to say that I've been on the council coming up in almost 2 years. With every decision, I ask myself the question, how will this improve the quality of life for our residents? Many of the issues we struggle with the most center around keeping our cost of living down as we continue to grow as a city. Unfortunately, this has created an affordability crisis that has caused a spike in homelessness and obtainable housing. I want to thank the mayor, my fellow colleagues, and staff for the countless hours put forth in establishing a strategic plan around both these issues. However, as I woke up this morning, I saw an article on ABC 15 with the headline, "As Arizona housing prices rise, wages are not being kept up." The article showed in Maricopa County, you need to make $22.56 an hour to afford a market rate to bedroom rental, and that nearly 1 million jobs in Arizona fall short of that. Many of these jobs fall within our tourism and service industry. As a city, we are currently going through contract negotiations with our different labor groups. Part of this exercise is to evaluate our pay structure and benefits. Our goal is to not only remain competitive in the workforce, but to do our part in addressing these issues and improving the quality of life for our residents. I think it is critically important we ask those doing business with the city to also buy into our strategic goals and help to be part of the solution. I want to ensure we are rewarding bidders who present us with credible plans to ensure their employees have access to quality and affordable healthcare and livable wages. Today, I think we have an opportunity to improve upon the framework the city has used to encourage competition and a best value system for bidding. With that, Chairwoman, I would like to make a motion. I move approval to issue 3 separate revenue contract solicitations for T4S1 Concourse as recommended by staff. Provide the solicitations include evaluation criteria for employee wages and benefits with a focus on health insurance, affordability, and quality, and hoping to be able to continue this conversation about this program that will help the small businesses.
Second.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Pastor?
So am I understanding we're voting for a joint venture that the ACDBEs will be under? So there'll be a prime, and the prime, the ACDBEs will be under that prime, like our current model.
Charlene, do you want to respond to that?
Madam Chair, yes. Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor, there are 4 traditional models, which is the prime, the master concessionaire, the direct leasing, and then we also would have the developer model. So it is staff's recommendation that we utilize for this procurement 2 of those 4 management models, which would be the prime and the direct leasing models for this procurement.
So it's two models then.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Pastor, yes, you are correct.
Okay, so we're okay. That's where I was getting confused. So it's the joint venture and the direct.
That is correct. Councilwoman Pastor, the direct leasing would be for the site on the map that we designated as a small business opportunity that would allow our ACDBE and local business partners to submit responses on that. Primes would not be able to submit a response on that location. However,
Okay. Go ahead.
However, they would on the others.
Okay, yeah, I'm just processing what you're saying, so that's why I'm a little delayed on it. Okay, got it. I just wasn't sure what I heard joint ventures and then I didn't hear the direct, and so that's why I was a little confused.
Charlene, we've had
Second, I'll
many
do a second.
conversations. Oh, sorry.
I said I don't know if there's a second, so I'll do a second if there isn't.
Okay,
And then
thank you.
and then my I forgot my question, Charlene. I'll get back. Madam Chair, you can have the floor.
Thank you. We have had so many discussions about the contracts in the past year. And I just want to be sure that you assign the points for the evaluation that continue on with what you've heard from priorities. You know what's most important to us, including benefits and working conditions. And I just want to be assured that that will be a consideration when you put this out, and part of the evaluation.
Madam Chair, absolutely. We will contain a provision as part of the evaluation to look at benefits for employees. I will ensure that through the procurement process that the evaluation panel is aware of council's and the subcommittee's desire to have that really explored. And so when that recommendation is brought forward to the subcommittee and council in the future, that should be included in the overall presentation of how that was evaluated and basically the discussion on the points and how they were awarded for that specific category.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, Charlene, one of the things that I do want us to continue, obviously, like, I want to make sure, I don't want to give the impression that I don't want this to move forward. Definitely want to make sure that this continues to move forward. But I'm not a big fan of direct leasing. I think I like having the prime and then having the joint venture. So if before this goes to council, if we could just have more conversations on the direct leasing, I definitely think that, you know, there's a lot more progress that happens when there is a prime and you have joint ventures working together than when a company comes in on their own. So we can just continue that conversation. I obviously want this to move forward, but I would like for us to have more of a conversation before it goes to a full council on how do we deal with this other issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if I can respond to Councilwoman Guerrero. When I first stepped into my position almost 5 years ago at the airport, there was a desire to have an increase in the ACDBE program and more small businesses participate. And so we looked at opportunities by taking larger contracts, breaking them into smaller to afford small businesses the opportunity to compete. So that was the thought process behind the direct leasing opportunity, is just to afford small businesses an opportunity to come into the airport on their own if they so choose, without a prime or joint venture. However, as always, I will follow the direction of the subcommittee and council relative to their desires for that program in the future.
Thank you. Matt, do we have any calls?
Yes, we do, Chairwoman. If you'd like me to go to those now.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Guerrero, did you have one more question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
if I can just respond to Charlene, I totally understand. I understand what you're saying, Charlene, but if we can just reserve those spots for small moms and pops that want to get into the airport, I think I would definitely be in favor of that. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the big chains wanting to take advantage of that when we've, if we can make sure that big chains won't take advantage of that, I think I'd be fine with it. But I think I would love for us to reserve that, for the small businesses that we want to continue. I mean, I feel like all of this was created for small businesses, and if we can continue to support them in getting these contracts, I would not be against that. So those are all my comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair?
You're welcome. Yes.
It's
Go ahead.
Councilwoman Pastor.
Councilwoman Pastor.
So Charlene, what I would like to know is, please explain direct leasing. Who can qualify or who can compete for direct leasing?
Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor, under the current program as we are presenting today, that direct leasing opportunity will only be available to those businesses that meet the definition of small and/or ACDBE. They cannot have a net worth of more than, I believe the number is 1.2 million. So that excludes the prime. So only those companies that are certified through our EOD department as a local small or ACDBE business will be able to compete on that specific location.
So when you say ACDBEs, because I think of mom and pop, I'm just gonna say we're doing concessions, restaurants. When I think of mom and pop restaurants, I think of one in my neighborhood, and I don't think they're gonna compete. So I'll just go A. Restaurant A would like to compete and get into the airport. And they're considered an ACDBE, and they will be able to compete. Will then they be able to compete with a franchisee? Then does a franchisee restaurant or fast food, are they able to compete in this?
Councilwoman Pastor, it goes back to personal net worth, which is a definition to define a small business. So typically a franchised business would have there's no personal net worth depending on how they're organized.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it goes to personal net worth of
Net
that
worth.
individual.
Okay. Now I understand the difference because it goes to personal net worth versus I don't know what you business net worth or corporate net worth. That's the difference.
Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor, that is correct.
Okay. My second question is what I do know about small businesses versus corporate is that in the financing, it's harder to get financing. So in the direct leasing, can we extend the time from 7 to 10 years because of the financing, the banking?
So, Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor, staff proposed a 7-year term with 1 3-year option. However, again, that's just staff's recommendation. If it is the desire of this subcommittee to make that a straight 10-year term, the aviation department has no problem at all. I fully understand, especially in a pandemic, the longer the term, the greater the ability to finance that debt.
And so would we have to do that for all contracts? I'm particularly looking at the direct leasing one.
So, Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor, that could be included in the motion.
Okay. Can I ask the motion maker?
Yeah, do you want to amend the motion?
Yes, we can amend the
Go ahead.
motion. Yes. Yes, we can do that. We can add that, go from 7 years to 10 years
For the small business only?
for the small
Yeah.
business. Yes.
Okay.
Second.
We go to the phone calls now?
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Chairwoman. Our first speaker is Susan Schuley. Susan, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Hello. I don't have any questions at this point, so thank you.
Our next speaker is Genesis Chisholm. Genesis, are you on the line? It appears as though Genesis is not on the line. Our next speaker is Mackenzie Fausto. Mackenzie, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Please proceed.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous if my voice sounds a little shaky. Hi, my name is Mackenzie Fausto, and I've been at HMS House for going on 4 months now. I wanted to come in advance of this bid being put out to oppose from the very beginning, granting HMS Host these new units in F&B and retail. I do not want HMS Host to get more units because they struggle taking care of the employees that they have now. As you see, I'm getting emotional. I currently am single. I have been struggling during the COVID pandemic, and getting this job at HMS Host has been everything to me. And right now, the health benefits are going to support a possible child coming, and I barely make anything to support a child, let alone pay for the medical benefits that I need to take care of the child that is coming into the world. To hear that they haven't paid rent for the past year, and to see the way that they treat the employees with the money that comes in makes me extremely infuriated. With COVID, we fend for ourselves completely. The people that we work with have become a family because of what we've been through, dealing with people constantly putting us at risk. We have had countless people contract COVID and not be able to support their families the way that they need. And this stems a lot from management. Unfortunately, it's just a sink or swim at Phoenix Harbor, at least for us. Okay, let me be sorry. We deal with on the daily hours not being able to get breaks or not being able to even stock our equipment properly to serve these customers that are nonstop. We aren't able to wash our hands, to use the bathroom at times if we're understaffed. If we're fully staffed, it's a little bit nicer, but we still don't have managers on site ever. So if we have a refund or anything that comes up, especially people that are with a mess, we're the ones that have to deal with it and have to deal with people constantly contaminating equipment behind
Thank
the
you.
bar.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, I have a question
Yeah.
for Mackenzie. Mackenzie,
Is
are
she
you
still on the line?
Yes,
Mackenzie, how many times, how many days a week are you working right now?
full time,
So how many days a week?
6 days a week. Or
Six.
no, sorry, 5 days. Yeah, they asked me on my days off.
Eh.
They'll ask me to come in.
And on your
Yeah.
5 days when you're working, how many times each day are you allowed to take a break?
I'm given my break each day, but there will be days that I'm not able to get it until my shift is over.
But those are your 30
So, 'cause
minutes. What about
legally, we have to get our breaks, but we're only given the 30-minute breaks. We're not given any 15-minute breaks or anything like that.
so how
Like
many
we work the
times?
entire shift.
And in your 8-hour shift, how many times during your 8-hour shift do you wash your hands?
Honestly, once or twice if we're lucky.
If you're lucky. Okay, thank you.
Our next speaker is Tracy Gunderson. Tracy, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Tracy Gunderson. You've heard me speak with you guys before. I've worked for HMS Host for 10 years this May, and I wanted to come in advance of this bid to put out a pose from the very beginning, granting HMS Host these new units. You've heard my experience with HMS Host as been discriminated against. Myself, along with other women, we filed a complaint back in with the EEOC back in October of 2019, and also filed a complaint with the EOG the beginning of December 2020. I requested a position statement back in November 2020. As of today, Host has still not contacted the EEOC to submit one. 5 months later, Host has already received millions of rent relief and contract lease extensions from the city, and they don't deserve more units from the city until they start taking care of their employees and the units that they already have been awarded. I thank you for your time today, and thank you for listening. It's, you hear from me every month, and it's because, I'm a mother of two, and we need our health insurance. And being that I am a leukemia survivor, if something were to happen and I caught COVID, we don't have the money to put me in a hospital to save my life again. We just don't have the insurance, and I've dedicated 10 years of my life to them. Missed my children's birthdays and Christmases and graduations, all these milestones I've dedicated to Host, and this is the way that I get paid back, is to take my insurance away. So thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.
Our next speaker is
Thank you.
April Hernandez. April, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Please proceed.
Hi, I'm April Hernandez, and I've been a barista at HMS host for 4 years now, and I wanted to come in advance of this bid being put out to oppose from the very beginning, granting HMS hosts these new units. I do not want HMS hosts to get more units when they can't even take care of us, their current employees. Currently, this past year, during this pandemic, was a test for this company to see how they really care about us, and they failed miserably. We have been short-staffed with no management on site or anyone to lead us while these lines get longer and longer. It's impossible to go to the bathroom. Imagine if you're pregnant and not being able to go to the bathroom because you don't want to leave your coworkers to drown in the work. It's harder for us to get people to wear masks without someone screaming at us. And we have no manager to defend for us. We put ourselves in more danger when no one wants to stay 6 feet apart or wear a mask properly. We have families that don't have insurance, obviously, and they don't qualify for it. My husband doesn't qualify for health insurance because he's a DACA recipient, and if he got sick, it would be on me to take care of the bills, which HMS host does not pay well for me to take care of all of the bills. And HMS host has already received millions in rent relief and contract lease extensions from the city of Phoenix. They don't deserve even more units from the city when they can't even take care of their own cohort and their own employees. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question for April.
Go ahead.
April, are you still there? How many times a day are you taking a break?
I only take one break a day.
And are they, because we have this contract, this growth plan, the way forward. And here it says that they were supposed to put up notices and let you guys know that you guys should be able to take a break when needed. From what I'm hearing, that's not happening. Is that correct?
It goes by who comes in first.
Right. So if you need a break, who do you talk to?
I don't talk to anybody. We just go by who was in first.
So in your 8 hours, in your 8 hours, you never take a 15-minute break.
No, we're not allowed to. Even the managers know like how mentally exhausted we are. They're just like, oh, you'll take your break soon. No worries.
And what about your mask in your 8-hour shift as a barista? How many times in your 8 hours, how many times do you change your mask?
My mask, I only change it once a day.
Once a day, and that's after 4 hours of a shift or 5?
Yeah, whatever mask we bring in, we use it. They don't even have masks at our store. We have to bring our own mask.
So you have to bring, so the company's not supplying you with a mask?
I don't know if they're supplying other stores, but at my store in Terminal 3 North side, they do not have masks there. I couldn't even find one when milk splattered all over my face.
And what about hand sanitizer?
They don't have hand sanitizer at my store as well. I bring my own for everyone to take for everyone. I bring my own for everyone.
Great. Thank you so much for that, April. Thank you for coming here and sharing your story. Charlene, I have a question for you, or Mario, or whomever is there.
Absolutely, Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Guerrero. I'll be happy to answer your question.
As you can see, I'm a little devastated here. No hand sanitizer, no masks for these workers, no breaks. You know, they have this contract that they signed here as I'm holding up. And here it says, associates are provided with adequate time for required hand washing and changing face masks. That's one of the points. The other point is we are providing rest breaks and safe areas for associates to remove their masks and take a break. And here we're hearing the horror stories once again with HMS Host, that they are not keeping to what they have written in their new growth plan, the way forward. So clearly they just are not taking this seriously. It has been my issue with this company since the beginning, did not believe a single word that they were saying. What can we do about this? And I don't want us to say, is there a way where we can break the contract with them? Like, what can we do? They're not helping our situation here.
So, Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Guerrero, the first step is ensuring compliance. So after today's meeting, I will talk to the management team personally. I will talk to corporate staff at HMS Host regarding what has been said. Also, we do have a team at the airport who I have directed to go out and conduct audits and talk to staff. We probably need to increase our audits. The point of the audits were to determine compliance with the hand washing breaks, the cleanliness, and so we will definitely increase our compliance to ensure, and we will hold, as we do all our contracts, contractors and business partners to their contracts to ensure that once they have agreed to something within their contract, that they actually execute. So we will be following up with them regarding mask mandates, the protocols for safety of the workers within the concessions program, which includes masking, mask availability, hand sanitizers. So we will escalate our compliance monitoring, and I will definitely have a discussion with HMS Host regarding today's meetings and the comments that have been made.
I mean, that's all fine, Charlene, and I appreciate, again, I've always said this from the beginning, love working with you, but I just don't trust this company, right? I mean, the workers are here saying right now that there's not even a manager on site if there's an issue, and they're responding to COVID-19 cases. Here it says managers continue to check with associates and provide resources on mental health, wellness, and return to work guidance. And as soon as we gave them the money, as soon as we extended their contracts, they went back to what they were doing before. I just would like to see us try to figure out a process, where we can, where we can really hold them accountable. I knew that us doing this was nothing, right? If it wasn't part of the lease, I knew that they were going to go back to this. And this is what we're seeing. So I would like to be part of that meeting and try to talk to them. And I think we need to figure out maybe I would like to do like a weekly tour at the airport and making sure that this is happening. Because I've never trusted this company. I don't trust them right now. And I would like for us, to talk to them, but then also figure out how do we hold them accountable? Like, can we break the contract with them? Like, can we, what extreme measures can we take?
You're raising some very valid points, but this isn't on our agenda, and I don't want to get off the agenda and get us into trouble.
Got it.
So,
okay. Well, we can talk about that later.
You.
You're right. Thank you.
Yes.
Our next speaker is Phil Lopez. Phil, are you on the line? It appears as though he is not on the line. Our next speaker is Ibado Mohammed. Ibado, are you on the line?
Yes, I am the line.
Please proceed.
My name is Ibado Mahmoud. I work HMS Host for 20 years. I am go follow for on March 25, and I haven't go back to work yet because I'm scared of, what happened to me. I am 60 years old woman, and I'd be easy to die if I get sick. HMS house, it has a lot of issues. And I think the most issues is because, like she said, Betty, if more often the city will be controlling and see how the condition we working and as employee, as face of the city, as employee who dedicated to work and make cities better, and we wouldn't get the harassment or mistreatment we getting for HMS host. I worked for 20 years, and the first time I get a medical for HMS host, I couldn't even afford to go to the doctor because they was taking all my paycheck and it was not covering nothing. I have to pay $400 for my X-ray. I have to pay my medication. I have to
interrupt you,
pay.
but we need you to
Can you
stick to
hear
the
me well?
topic that's on the agenda. It's about
Yeah.
putting out to get new companies to come in to the new edition.
If a new company coming or if it's you guys changing the way HMS hosts and take care of their employee, either way, it's the city job. I'm not going to give you an order what you can do or what you cannot do. But what I'm telling you, what we are living in a daily basis as a city employee working in the airport or dedicated to
thank you.
work.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Santos Mojica. Santos, are you on the line? It does not appear as though they are on the line. Our next speaker is Carmen Quintana. Carmen, are you on the line?
Yes.
Please
Hola.
proceed.
Hola, mi nombre es Carmen Quintana. Yo trabajo para HMS Host por 33 años.
Chairwoman, Carmen, ¿puedes esperar tantito? Chairwoman, do you want me to translate? I don't know.
Yes.
Carmen, ¿tiene traductor o quiere que yo le traduzca?
I'm sorry, I believe that we do have an interpreter here, so they should be able to. They just have not.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Excuse me, can anyone hear me? I'm the interpreter.
Okay.
Yes,
I
thank
can
you.
hear you.
Okay, adelante, señora.
Okay. Hola, mi nombre es Carmen Quintana.
Hola, my name is Carmen Quintana.
Yo trabajo para HMS Host por 33 años.
He estado con la compañía I've been with the company for 33 years.
Yo me opongo para que le otorguen las nuevas unidades a la compañía HMS Host.
And I oppose that you give any funds to the company.
Porque a ellos no les importan sus empleados, no hacen nada por nosotros.
They don't care about, the reason why is because they don't care about their employees.
También dicen que no tienen dinero para darles una aseguranza buena a sus empleados.
They also say they don't have enough money to offer insurance to their employees.
Pero sí tienen dinero para comprar las nuevas unidades.
But they do have the money to buy new units.
Cuando empezó la pandemia, ellos nos cancelaron la aseguranza médica.
When the pandemic started, they canceled our insurance, our medical insurance.
Yo estuve 2 meses sin medicina para mi presión y mi colesterol.
I was without medicine for my cholesterol and blood pressure for 2 months.
Pero a ellos no les importa nada, solamente ganar dinero.
But they don't care about anything. They just care about earning the money.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lucia Salinas. Lucia, are you on the line? Oh, it looks like Lucia is not on the line. Our next speaker is Victoria Smith. Victoria, are you on the line?
I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please
Yes, you
proceed.
can.
Okay. My name is Victoria Smith. I've been with the company, I think, going on 10 years plus. HMS Host is not taking care of the employees there. They're saying that they're going to hire more people, but yet they don't give us enough hours, even though we need the employees there. They're working us to death. We are doing 3 to 4 extra jobs to make that restaurant, that company work. We are not getting enough hours. The insurance is outrageous. I had to cut my insurance practically to almost nothing, where now I cannot go see a specialist. I can't afford it. I'm giving up half my medication for the month because I cannot afford it because I'm not getting enough hours. HMS Host is not taking care of us. They're working us as if we are, I hate to say the word, dogs. We're begging for scraps. We should not beg for scraps. They are getting so much. They get rent relief. They get their management tickets to go to the PIR, the Phoenix Open. They give them bonuses. We get nothing.
Madam?
We are either, are you there?
We need to have you stick to the topic that's on the agenda, which is soliciting new businesses to come to the airport.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They are not bringing enough. They don't care about the employees. They're just thinking about themselves. Okay, you let them bring in more restaurants, give them more. They're going to work those restaurants with only maybe 3 or 4 employees. They can't handle the business now because they're understaffing their employees. Now, why give a company an extra restaurant when they can't even take care of the old ones that they have now?
Need you to wrap up, please.
Our next speaker is Ziggy Yahin. Ziggy, are you on the line? Oh, it does not look as though Ziggy is on the line, so that was our last speaker for these items.
Okay. Do you have any further comments from committee members?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman. Well, thank you so much, Charlene, Mario. And I know, Charlene, today is your last meeting as our acting director. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done with us in the last few months. I know that it has not been easy. It's been quite difficult, the journey, but definitely feel that you rose to the occasion and you worked with all of us and you were always fully transparent. So definitely enjoyed our tough conversations, but at the end of the day, I feel like your heart is in the right place and you did amazing work, and cannot thank you enough for everything that you did for all of us and guided us through this process. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Councilwoman. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
I just want to be clear. So today we are voting on the joint venture and the direct leasing. Am I correct? With the stipulations or with the pieces that Councilwoman Guardado put into play and that this is now going to move to council for vote.
That's correct.
The prime and the direct leasing model.
Yeah, the prime and the direct leasing, prime and the direct leasing. And I just want to make sure, once we vote, that this is moving over to council in 2 weeks, I believe.
We are currently scheduled for the March 17th agenda.
Okay. May I ask, Charlene, you have done a wonderful job, especially in the situation that you were placed in during this pandemic, and trying to negotiate or trying to assist in the rent relief piece. So I thank you for that. When does the new airport director come in?
March 29th.
Okay, so we're voting on this item before the new director comes in?
That is correct, Madam Chair, to Councilwoman Pastor.
Okay, that's what I just want to know. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I will call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing no one in opposition, passed unanimously. And I want to thank you, Charlene. You have done an extraordinarily good job. I think you probably met in one of the most contentious times during a process at the airport, and you handled it well, professionally, made no enemies, and really got respect from all of us. So thank you very much for what you've done.
Charlie, we
will go
can't
to
hear
the-
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for your kind words. This has been a great experience for me. I have challenged myself professionally. It has made me a better employee, and it has been my extreme pleasure to serve the city in this capacity. Thank you so much.
And now that you're so good at it, don't leave. So, thank you. We will go now to water.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 21 is an item to discuss the water revenue increase recommendation and outreach update. Here to talk about this item is Karen Peters, Deputy City Manager, along with Eric Froberg, Interim Water Services Director, and here also is Denise Olson, Chief Financial Officer, present for the presentation. I'll turn it over to Karen.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. I'm very pleased to be here today to report on where we are with our water revenue increase outreach and our recommendation for one of the options that we discussed at our previous meetings. So as Mario indicated, with me today is Interim Water Services Director and Chief Financial Officer Denise Olson is here in the event that there are questions for her. So we will do a quick overview of the rate options that we've discussed, and then we'll transition to talk about the survey that the subcommittee asked us to do. We've got some results, although we'll explain that remains open for additional input. We'll talk about the public meetings that have been conducted, and then do an update about where we are with Project Assist before we get to the recommendations. So first, of course, I want to thank staff for all of the work that they've done on this outreach effort, and then go here to remind the subcommittee and the community what we're talking about. So this is the financial plan rate recommendations that you've seen before. On the left-hand column, you see what was previously proposed and approved. In 2019 and 20, we had 6% increases, and that was based upon a financial plan that included 3.5% increases in years 3, 4, and 5 of that plan. We are here today to talk about where we are now with a new financial plan, and as you guys asked us, we prepared 3 options for consideration. The first is the one in the second to left-hand column, option 1, 0% in year 1 and 6.5% in year 2, followed by 3.5% increases in the plan. And then option 2 is a 3% increase in calendar year 21 in October of this year, and then 3.5% in 2022. The financial plan then does forecast additional increases going forward. We also did analyze option 3, which is a 0% rate increase in year 1 and 3.5% in year 2. And as we discussed, that option does limit our ability to deliver on the capital improvement plan that we've presented to you before. I do want to talk a little bit about what this rate increase does, though. It's important to understand that we have what we call the base rate, or the lifeline rate, and for that rate, a flat fee, customers get a certain amount of water. They get 6 units during the months of October through May, and then in the summer months they get 10 units. The rates for that lifeline or base rate will not increase under this rate recommendation, and I think it's important for all of us to understand that those who use less water and are very good at conservation will not see these rates increase. So with that, I want to ask Eric to talk about where we have come with our outreach efforts.
Thank you, Karen. Vice Mayor and members of the subcommittee, I have the extreme honor today and pleasure to talk about all the outreach efforts that we have done over the last about 2 months, really since the NOI was adopted in January. The Water Services Department has worked very hard to get the message out and the word out to the public about this proposed rate increase. We have presented at several district-specific events. These were by request of the various council districts, and these were very wide-ranging in the types of events. Many and most of them were virtual. We did have one that was outdoors in person, so that was fun. And they ranged in times from early in the mornings to the afternoons to in the evenings, and it was, around whatever the districts had specifically set up. Messaging was added to the city services bill for both February and March, and this was a way to reach all of the customers as they get their city services bill. An email address, watersmart@Phoenix.gov, was created and advertised to the public to receive public comments and any concerns regarding the water rates. An educational video was created in conjunction with Phoenix TV, and it's posted on our website and was shared through social media. Some additional outreach. There was several educational pieces of information posted on the City Services website. There was an FAQ sheet posted and created. The recording of one of the workshops that we presented is there, so people can view that at their leisure. There's lots of information there about the rates and how the rates would be implemented. There was a newsroom story created. We did conduct several interviews and produced several, or were part of several articles through various outlets, both in English and Spanish. Here's the one-page fact sheet that was created in English and in Spanish that's posted on our website. There's also the online water rate calculator where residents could go on and input data from their current water services bill to get an idea of how it would impact them. And a new thing that Water Services did this time was we created a short 15-second video, both in English and in Spanish, through Grocery TV, which has approximately right now 18 stores. Those are Food Cities or Basha stores that when you're checking out and you have the screen there, this 15-second video would be playing kind of continuously in a loop. We did have over 750,000 impressions on that. So here we'll go to the next one and we'll play the short video so you could see it. So I will say you didn't miss any sound on that because it is in a grocery store. There is no audio on that, but it does run in a continual loop. Kind of the highlight of the outreach that Water Services did is we created a survey. The survey is, as Karen mentioned, still currently open. It will be open until Friday. But as of a couple days ago when we finalized this presentation, we did have over 1,000 responses to that survey. The heat map on the left there shows kind of where the responses came from based on zip code. The reds and the browns are where we got more responses, and then the greens and the lighter colors are where we had fewer, but it is worth noting here that it appears as though that we did receive responses from all zip codes within the city, so that's very encouraging. Again, it closes on Friday. It's a very short survey. We have publicized that through Water Services and social media, and we've asked the council districts to also put that out. We're gonna now, it is a 9-question survey, and when it closes on Friday, we'll do some data analysis, and we'll be sure to get all that data to the various council districts for their information. Today, we'll just highlight a few of the questions, and this was as of when we put this together a couple days ago. Question 4 was, we asked if the respondents agreed that repairing and replacing aging pipes to prevent inconvenience to customers should be a priority, and not surprisingly, 90% or nearly 90% agreed that it was important to replace our infrastructure. The next question related to cost was, do you feel that the price that you pay for your water services is reasonable? Again, a very high percentage there, nearly 78% responded yes, that they did feel that water services, the rates were reasonable. So then specifically to the question of the rate increase itself was, we asked the question, in addition to your current monthly bill, how much more would you be willing to pay to ensure that the infrastructure upgrades were completed? A high percentage, 68%, over 2/3 of the respondents did support a rate increase. The way that we asked the question did allow them to select ranges or how much they would be willing to pay in addition to their current bill. We went through and we did some quick analysis on that, and based on the respondents, the overall 68% supported approximately $4 increase, which was encouraging to us because, as you recall from our previous presentations, the 6.5% rate increase was approximately a $2.40 increase for the average customer. So we felt that this was a good sign and a positive sign that the community was supportive of a rate increase even larger than we were asking. So we were encouraged by that. In regards to the public meetings, there were 25 different public meetings, either the 4 workshops that we put on. 3 of them were in English and 1 of them was in Spanish. We attended several village planning meetings over the 2 months. So those 25 meetings in 2 months has kept us busy, but we did want to get out there and make sure that the public did hear about it. With over those 25 public meetings, we did reach over 500 participants. We received 332 comments so far. And we tried to summarize here kind of those comments into kind of 3 main bullet points. Is the community members, they were understanding why the rate increase was important and why it was needed. They did acknowledge the importance of maintaining infrastructure to ensure delivery of the clean water. Many attendees did express concern for residents and businesses during COVID-19, not surprisingly. Staff, we did take this opportunity to share with the community as we were having these about resources that were available to them, one in particular being Project Assist. And with that, I will turn it back over to Karen to talk about that.
Thank you, Eric. So we have talked about Project Assist in the past, and as you know, that is a program that's been in place for a number of years that provides assistance for those who are having difficulty paying their city services bill. That is funded by water, wastewater, and solid waste utility revenues. But this year, in light of the COVID emergency, Council did allocate a one-time $2 million general fund contribution to the fund to assist with the increasing delinquency that we have seen. I really want to thank the council. We are very pleased to announce today that as of yesterday, all $2 million has been distributed. Over 3,600 households received this assistance, and Eric and I had the pleasure this morning to talk with the staff that was responsible for contacting our account holders and providing this relief. And we thanked them and congratulated them, but I very much want to thank the subcommittee because it was the concerns that this subcommittee raised that led us to take this very exciting and bold action. So as of yesterday, all $2 million has been distributed of that emergency allocation. We're exploring now, as a part of this rate discussion, a potential increase of the water revenue contribution to Project Assist, but we'll be working with our partners. The Water Services Department also works with the Human Services Department, the Public Works Department, and the Finance Department on this program, and so we want to get everyone together to talk about what might be feasible there. So, with that, as you know, as we discussed last time, on January 21st, the Water and Wastewater Rate Advisory Committee met and discussed the options that we had developed at your request. As I said before, the Wastewater Rate Advisory Committee is very committed to recommending funding levels that allow us to maintain the infrastructure that allows us to safely and reliably deliver water to our customers and remove wastewater from their homes and businesses. So I say that because I think what we've seen very recently is the consequences of failure to invest in infrastructure. Some of the communities in the South recently had some very significant failures of infrastructure, and I know our rate committee is dedicated to making sure that what we put before you allows us to maintain that. So the committee recommended option 2. As I described previously, that is a 3% increase in October of 21 and 3.5% in March of 22. So at this time, I want to emphasize that the outreach is still going on. The public hearing on the rate increase is not until March 17th. And between now and then, I know that we'll be at additional public meetings. As we said, the survey remains open until Friday. And so we look forward to collecting all of that input and being able to report that back to you. But at this time, staff recommends that the Transportation Infrastructure and Innovation Subcommittee recommend City Council approval of the 3% water revenue increase in October of 21 and the 3.5% water revenue increase in 22, option 2, as was discussed. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Erica. You know, water's been my focus for the last few years, and I know I drive you crazy on all of this, but I just believe that, you know, we're headed into a worse drought. Water is going to be less available, more expensive. So we don't want to make any errors in how we deliver that water. Every time a pipe breaks, we are losing water. It's being wasted, and we're paying for something we're not being able to use. So I really appreciate all the efforts you have made in the public participation. I think it shows people in this community recognize and value water. So thank you very much for that. Councilwoman?
Thank you.
Dorado?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Chairwoman. I also want to again thank the Water Services Department for all their efforts to help so many of our working families who are struggling to pay their bills. The Project Assist program has been a huge success, and I think it is something we should continue to build on. As we consider these water revenue increases, I think it is important to commit ourselves again to allocating future federal assistance funds that come our way to continue to keep our residents out of water debt. I would specifically like to see ways that we can help our seniors by creating an allocation within the Project Assist program that devotes resources to helping them pay their water bills. I think that we should try to look into this. How do we continue to help how can we continue to help our seniors and people that are still struggling? We're still in the middle of a huge pandemic, and we just want to make sure that we can help release some of the stress for our constituents, and hoping that we can figure out a way, Karen, where we can actually put more money into this pot so that we can continue to help people as this pandemic continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pastor?
I think it's Stark.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on mute.
Oh.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you. I too want to thank staff for all their work on this. I was one that had the outdoor meeting. We were by the canal in Sunny Slope, and we had a nice turnout at sunset. And I agree that we need to really address the issue of seniors. I had a lovely couple in their 80s who are willing to see the rates go up, but do worry that they're on a fixed income, that they need help with Project Assist. And staff did a great job of explaining that. I will tell you, I have been the victim of bad water pipes. We had a terrible leak on my street. The water was gushing up, and thank you for all the water crews that came out and patched that up. But you're right, our infrastructure is failing, and our water is very precious. And so I agree that we need to keep moving forward with what we're doing to ensure that we have safe and adequate water supply. And I also want to thank you, Madam Chair. You really have been a guru on the issues of water, and I really appreciate that because it is a critical issue in our city and in the desert. So thank you for everything you've done. Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now, Councilwoman Pastor, did you have comments?
I just agree with everybody. I won't repeat any of the comments. I do want to say, Madam Chair, I believe we have one more meeting with you. I think that's in April. So
yes, we do.
So I will not say anything else until April. But
Okay.
But appreciate you.
So I love the tree
Thank
in the
you.
background.
I figured you would. That was my change on how I'm going to decorate.
I love it. So, okay, do I have a motion to approve staff's recommendation?
I move that we approve per staff's recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any calls?
Chairwoman, we do not.
Okay, in that case, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Believe everybody voted for it. There are no nays. Most carried unanimously. Thank you all very much. And again, I want to thank staff for the outreach you've done and continue to do. I think it's very important that we continue to recognize the need for water quality in our city. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any public calls, Matt?
Chairwoman, we do not.
Okay. Is there future items that we want on the agenda? I will tell you right now for the next meeting, I've asked that it will be my last meeting. Invited Metro over to give me a complete update on the light rail, on what's going on or not going on. So that will be part of our next agenda. Do you have any items you'd like to add?
Council.
Madam Chair, I think we need to have an item that allows the subcommittee to speak. So call to like we do at our council policy meetings, because I think
Oh.
we all want to pay tribute to you.
Oh,
And I don't want to
well,
violate,
in
I
that
don't want to
case,
violate.
I think I
open
may
meeting
deny this
law.
motion.
I'm like, you mean you would like for us council ladies to be able to speak at the beginning of the meeting?
Yes, like we
Okay.
do at the council policy.
Okay.
So I don't know what that would be called.
Is it public comments for public officials, maybe? I don't know.
There you go.
That'd be good. Yeah, there
I
you
like
go.
that. I love
Thank
it.
you. Very nice. I appreciate the effort, so,
Madam Chair.
but not necessary. Okay, hearing no other items mentioned, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.